Live from the heart of the Blue Ridge, Roanoke, Virginia. It's the Just Bernard Show with host Bernard Alvarez. Join Bernard as he shares topics that reveal the real matrix and empower your human experience, including world liberty, the esoteric, suppressed technologies, spiritual ascension, and human consciousness. Humanity has awakened, and our time has come to realize our full potential. And now, live from the Star City, your host, Bernard Alvarez.
Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to another segment of the Just Bernard Show here on Facebook, YouTube, and all around the web. I want to welcome you to today's show. Today, we are going to be speaking on the difference between belief and knowing, and this is a point of contention with me, and I felt this would be a good way of sharing a little bit of my understanding of this and how we can become more aware within our own lives, how to better gauge our beliefs versus our opinions versus our faith versus what we actually know. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in, if that's okay with you. It's been a nice day, but a busy day, and I was having some tech issues, so we had to postpone for a moment. But we're back anyway. Let me take a sip of water first. So welcome, and let's see. So what brought this to my attention? You know, in doing the work that I do with so many people, literally so many people around the world, and I'm so grateful to have you all as a part of my journey and a part of this experience and this path that I'm doing. And I get a lot of mail, a lot of questions being asked, and a lot of concern about perhaps paranormal experiences that people are going through. What to believe on the internet, the news. Not only are we trying to cultivate an empowering magical practice, perhaps we're also going through this conscious awakening. So we're constantly being told what to believe and what's real and what's not. And I'm not going to go into the whole, what is perception versus, reaction or whatnot, even though I'll probably touch on it. But let me start off by saying that there is a big difference between belief and knowing. And I often tell this anecdote that Joseph Campbell shared, and I'll start with that. During, I believe it was in the, I'm sorry, I believe it was during the interviews he did with Bill Moyers when he was speaking about being at the New York Athletic Club, swimming in the pool, and he runs into one of the priests, and the priests are asking him, Mr. Campbell, do you have faith? And he kind of looked at the priest and giggled a little bit and said, no, Father, I have experience. And this opened up a huge can of worms for me. This was actually before I went through my formal training, my initiations and whatnot. So I didn't have a structured way of learning about these types of topics, until I got involved with organizations and whatnot. So, but at that time, it made me realize that everything I thought to be real, everything I believed to be, my idea of God or goddess or magic or witchcraft and all of that was wrong. It was completely wrong because I had this preconceived notion that magic and witchcraft and spirituality and the paranormal were these really profound experiences, like I don't know, witches flying on brooms, or magically floating in the air, or astral projection, through just by snapping your fingers are going to leave your body. All these crazy, I don't want to say crazy. Yeah, it is a little bit crazy to think that we're going to get to that point just by saying we're a witch, or we're this, or we're awakened, or whatnot. It comes with practice, and that's what we're going to get into today a little bit. But for example, when I take on an apprentice, the very first thing I will ask them to do is to write me an essay, telling me their concept, or how they see the difference between what Hollywood and movies and TV portray magic and spirituality and the paranormal versus their own experience. Have you experienced, spirits and gods and goddesses, manifesting physically in front of your face? Have you had out of body experiences? Have you seen ghosts? Have you seen UFOs? Whatever it is. And I do this because it's important that, especially, and I'll get into the news and stuff. Well, actually, no, we can apply all of this to the news. So let's just stick with the topic at hand. When we are being very serious about magical practices, occult practices, New Age practices, spiritual practices, diving into the paranormal, we are very serious about it. And when you are learning, it is very important to keep a journal. Now, I know that sounds trivial, but there's a reason for it. It's not trivial at all. If you get any type of master or tutor or spiritual, to become an apprentice or become a part of a magical order or whatnot, they're going to tell you to approach all of these rituals, spells, magic, all that as an experiment. So when I train my apprentices, or when I had my coven, I would ask them all to say, okay, well, what is it that you want to accomplish? What is the reason for this particular meditation or this spell or ritual, etc., etc.? And I would ask them to, before you do the meditation, and hopefully you'll do the same after this, before you do the meditation or the spell or the ritual, acknowledge what day it is. Is it a Monday? Is it Tuesday? Is it November? Is it December? What season is it? What moon phase is it? How's the weather? Is it raining? How is your mood? How are you feeling? Are you in a good mood? Are you in a bad mood? What have you eaten? What have you put in your body? Have you drank any alcohol? In other words, we're creating an awareness of any tangible and possible influences that may lead the outcome to be one way or another. So that way, if it works, you have a formula of how it worked. You're looking at it like a science experiment. So, for example, I'm going to do an astral projection. So I will write down the time of day. I will write down how I'm feeling. I will write down if I have a full stomach or an empty stomach. I will do the working, and I will always try to remember what it is that I experienced. And when I come back out of the astral projection, I will write down everything that I experienced. So therefore, it's almost like creating a recipe. Yeah, it worked great on the full moon on an empty stomach, but the next time I did it, perhaps it didn't work so good because I had drunk a beer and I just had dinner, and it was raining outside. So the barometric pressure was different. You get what I'm saying here? And that's leading up to where I'm going with knowing versus belief. Once I have successfully completed that working, once I have successfully completed that ritual, and whether I'm doing a healing or whatnot, I can always go back and say, well, this is how it worked, and it worked for me. This is my experience. I don't need to believe in some airy fairy idea, oh, well, everyone says magic is real, magic is real. No, I don't need to believe that magic is real. I don't need to believe that the paranormal is real. I don't need to believe that the spiritual realms and other dimensions are real because I know, and I know because I have experienced it. So there's a big difference when we are allowing another's experiences or story to become a belief for us or a reality for us. You understand what I'm saying here? That's how false religions begin. You know? We don't know. We weren't there. We don't know what's happened. It's all speculation. And don't get me wrong. There are people that I know well enough that their experiences are real. And of course, I take everyone at face value. And if someone says they're having downloads and they're speaking to spirits or whatnot, I'm going to believe them, nonetheless. But I might ask them a few questions, but I will believe it is what they experience. It's not necessarily that I believe in that particular deity or entity because I haven't connected with that deity or entity. There's nothing wrong with being supportive of the idea of something. It's when we allow speculation, and this goes beyond magic, witchcraft, paganism, new age, meditation, spirituality, paranormal, UFOs, ETs, transdimensional entities, shamanism, all of that. It goes beyond that. It goes into the news. It goes into these left wing and right wing political people that try to tell you, World War III is starting, or, those people are evil, or that person's evil, and they're evil, and he said that, and he said that. And how do we know? How do we know unless we experience it? So, what I am suggesting to you today is to give you your higher self, your real self, your empowered self, the opportunity to create your reality versus allowing external noise, external experiences, and speculation to be your reality, because it's not your reality. Your reality is your experiences. Your wisdom, as you get older, will come through your experiences. And hopefully, those experiences and your wisdom is something you can pass on to other people and perhaps guide them into experiences where they can generate their own wisdom, which they can in turn share with the next generation, etc., etc. We got to be very careful because there is a tendency to want to believe in something. I'm one of them. When I was a 19-year-old practicing my first spell, it was like, ooh, did you see the smoke went zigzag? There's something here. It might have just been the ceiling fan, but I was all excited because the smoke went zigzag. And I wanted to believe there was spirits in the room making the smoke go zigzag. So we have this tendency to want to, exaggerate in order for us to, and not necessarily exaggerate to other people, but exaggerate to our own selves in order to justify our belief in that experience. So I'm in no way suggesting to be pessimistic. I'm in no way suggesting to be this, pardon my French, a hard ass on what people believe or what they practice or what their experiences are, or even with your own experiences, beliefs, and practices. But remember, everything becomes your story. And I talk about the story quite a bit. And that story is about your experiences. That story is your filing cabinet. It's your hard drive of, okay, well, this happened before, so I'm going to dig into my personal hard drive, my memories, my experiences, and I am going to take action due to what my story interprets this particular situation or experience, and that is how I will make my decision. Just like that scientific method I talked about with being aware of the environment and the weather and whatnot, the same thing goes for our story. What are we going to put in? Be aware of what you're putting into your story. There is a difference between belief, and there is a difference between knowing. Knowing for me is the experience of I have experienced healing, profound healing. I have seen me heal other people. I've seen it. I've seen my tarot readings blow people away. I've seen it. I've experienced magical, wonderful spiritual awakenings and paranormal experiences and transdimensional experiences. But that's my experience. If you're seeking those things, make sure that you are not doing it because you believe it, or not. You're not going to believe it just because it's faith. It's because of your experience. You have experienced it. Anyway, I'm going to cut it short today. I hope this gives you some food for thought. I did want to ask us, actually, I'm going to do a quick exercise with you before I leave today. So do me a favor. We're going to do a very, very quick breathing exercise. So I'm going to walk you through, let's say, for example, you're getting ready, you've read this wonderful ritual, or you've read about this fantastic ceremony and or magical working or ceremony and or spell. You've read about it and you're like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna do the spell, and it's gonna be right because I'm gonna follow all the ingredients and whatnot. I want you to be very clear that just because it works for somebody else, it may not work for you. And a lot of times, um, these there's a lot of stuff left out when it comes to the public, the books and the websites and whatnot. The stuff in between the lines is not always shared. So what I'm going to ask you to do is, before you allow yourself to ingest this as it's going to work, not necessarily to be skeptical, healthy skeptical, yes, healthy skeptical, but you do want to approach it with an open mind. So let's take a moment and close your eyes for me, just one moment. We're just going to take a deep breath in through your nose, filling your belly. And just one more deep breath. And one more deep, deep breath. Now, if you have done these three breaths with me, you have probably experienced some sort of an altered state of consciousness. You might feel a little bit more relaxed, a little calmer. You might have gotten a head rush from breathing too fast, but it kind of shifted your consciousness. So, right there, you have experienced something. That's real. When you're breathing and you're changing the way those neurons are shooting around in your brain and those thoughts begin to slow down because of your breath, now you know it works. You don't need to believe. You know. Thank you. And I hope you will apply some, if not all, of everything I've just offered. I want to let you know that next week we do have a wonderful guest coming to join us. Maybe we can apply some of this with our guests coming on next week. I've got Sam Beasley coming on. I don't know if you can see this. He just wrote this lovely book called Your Life is Your Prayer. And I love this concept of your life is your prayer, because every movement, every breath, when we are mindful and we are in the moment, we are living our prayer. Every thought is a prayer. So we're going to get into that. We're probably going to get into mindfulness and some other stuff as well. Also, I want to remind you all that my book is still available, and it's the fourth edition. I believe it's going to be a 1-year anniversary pretty soon of the fourth edition being out. And it's the one I'm the most proud of, the Book of One, Returning to Source Wisdom. by Bernard Alvarez. Please go to Amazon and check it out. You can get it on Kindle, or you can get the hardcover. I didn't have it's behind me somewhere, but I'm not going to walk away from the camera to show it to you. Also, remember Soul Evolution 2020. I'm going to be featured along with Mark Nepo and I forgot her name. I did it again. I'm so sorry. A bunch of other wonderful speakers, internationally known speakers. It's a free webinar. It's like a 4-day webinar, and I believe it'll be available for free next week. And that's going to be a short window where it's free. You can go to. I'll be posting more about it here. Actually, I keep posting on my Facebook page and my YouTube page about it every day. So scroll down a little bit and I'm sure you will find it. And then for those of you within my local region, the tickets for my IRL in real life tarot masterclass on March 28th, Saturday, I believe that's March 28th, the last Saturday in March. Those tickets will be going on sale this Saturday. I am limiting that to 20 people. So if you live nearby and you want to get a ticket to that, I highly suggest you be prepared. Maybe pick them up this weekend. For those of you that I know and love in the interwebs, the Tarot Masterclass will be coming to us probably in the middle of spring, maybe the beginning of April, late April, something like that. And it is my intention to be providing some more full on afternoons with Bernard online, like 3 and 4 hour master classes. After that, that'll be the first one that I'm kind of experimenting with all the new tech and stuff that I have. So should be exciting. Anyway, I'm so glad to see everybody here. It's so nice to have you be a part of my journey, and I love you very much. Mwah. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week for my talk with Sam Beasley. And don't forget to get the tarot tickets if you live nearby. I love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye.